Hello folks, welcome to my channel Researchers Enigma. I hope you all are doing good. Recently, CSIR has released its result for the exam that was conducted in the month of January and February 2022, and in the upcoming months the PhD admissions will start. So it's the time to start with the preparation for interviews. First of all, I would like to congratulate all those who have qualified CSIR, and for all those who couldn't make it this time, don't get disappointed. Take a break and just work hard and have patience. Actually, preparing for CSIR is just like training for your PhD journey, because you need immense amount of patience and immense amount of hard work to go through the PhD journey. So coming on to the interview process, overall it's somewhat similar across the institutes. So in some institutes there will be 2 or 3 rounds of interviews with written exam. Like in IIT Bombay, there is 1 round of written exam and 2 rounds of interviews. In IIT Delhi, there is 1 round of written exam and 1 round of interview. And in ACTREC, we have 2 rounds of interviews. So the pattern is same, but the stages might differ. So first of all, talking about the written exam, in majority of institute, the pattern of the written exam is similar to what we see in GATE exam, where we have questions from different subjects like from biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, and sometimes even from computer science and animal physiology. So from these many, you have to select 1, 2 or 3 subjects, which will differ across the institute. And ideally, if you are from life science background, you will be thinking to select biology and human physiology. But mind it, the questions that are asked in human physiology is somewhat that is taught in medical schools and not that we study for a CSIR exam. Therefore, you should go for chemistry, because 80% of the questions that are asked in chemistry is related to biochemistry, so it becomes easier for us to answer those questions. Also, if you have qualified CSIR, it wouldn't be difficult for you to get through the written exam. However, try to make less mistakes because the cutoff is very high. So like around 400 students come for written exam, and from that 40-50 students are selected for interview. So the narrowing is too brutal. Now let's divide the interview process into 3 different parts. The first one is a dissertation based interview, where if you have done a dissertation, questions will be asked from your thesis. You should be aware of the whys of your dissertation, like why you have selected the topic, why you have addressed a question using a certain technique. You should know the rationale behind your project. Also, you should know the limitations of your project, and sometimes they even ask about the future scope related to the project. So anyway, you should be thorough with your dissertation. Now suppose in your master's or bachelor's course you didn't have any dissertation, or you did have a dissertation but the work was not that great. So in this case, you may switch to a subject based interview. So the panel might ask you your favorite subject, and you can tell them unit, or you can tell them certain topics. Like you can say either I am fond of biochemistry, or I'm good with proteins, or enzymes, and so on. So the questions will be asked according to that. So in this case, you should prepare well before the interview. Like you can start preparing now for certain 2 or 3 subjects that you like. 2 or 3 because you might start with one subject, but as you start addressing those questions, you might switch into some other areas. So you should also be smart during an interview. You shouldn't get overwhelmed, because the questions that will be asked in your interview is related to the answer that you give for your previous question. So you need to drive your interview smartly. Also, if you are not aware about certain questions, or you do not know the answer for a certain question, don't beat around the bush. Just be honest and tell the panel. One thing that you should be aware while you're going for this interview is that your CSIR rank will not influence the panel in most of the cases. So even if you have got good rank or you have got less rank, don't get affected by this. Just remember that you have qualified CSIR, and the next step is to get enrolled in a PhD program. Finally, in most of the institutes, there will be a list of projects, and among those projects, the panel may ask which project you are more fond of, or which lab you want to choose. In this case, first of all, you need to do your homework. Talk to the lab members or the people who are presently working in that institute or the alumni of the institute, You can get connected through LinkedIn. Through that, you will get aware about the institute infrastructure and also get aware about the lab environment. Once you're confident about the lab and about the project, just go through some research papers, mostly the recent research papers. You will understand what kind of work is going on in that respective lab, and then accordingly try to cover up the basics. Like if you're going into a structural biology lab, you should be aware about proteins, about amino acids, about structures, and certain laws like Bragg's law and all. I was asked about that. And apart from basics, you should also be able to address the questions related to techniques or methods, like how will you address a certain question, what kind of technique will you use, or what kind of strategy you will apply to get through a certain question. So you need to be thorough with these things. So I hope these few points will help you to start preparing for your PhD interviews. And if you have any other queries related to that, you can definitely post them in YouTube comment section. Also, if you have anything specific to ask for related to the PhD, I have recently launched my website, that is researchersenigma.com. So there is a section in the website where you can put your PhD queries, and I will be more than happy to address those questions. Link to the website is in the description box. Go check it out. See you in my next video. Till then, goodbye and take care.